Okay, TMG here. We're doing a little different today. I'm on my desk. We're recording on a webcam. I guess maybe the top-down view would be better for this sort of stuff. I had this. I bought this. This is the only thing I've ever bought on AliExpress because I was like, I couldn't find it anywhere, and I saw it there. I'm like, okay. And I've known about it for years, but let's just open this thing. Yeah. Oh, here we are. Oh, it has shrink wrap on it as well. It's like Christmas. I like opening packages because it's almost like Christmas in a way. I guess my birthday's right around the corner. If you watch my ranking Donkey Kong Country games video, you know that. Because I talked about having an existential crisis because I've almost lived a quarter of my life. Or possibly less, but we won't talk about that right now. Man, this is some tight wrap around here. I'll say this box is a little heavier than I was expecting it to be. Homeboy 88. Now this should play Game Boy Advance games on the TV. Now I do play GameCube games. Okay, see it's not shrink wrap, but I do not play. I play them on my Wii, so a Game Boy player would not really work for me, and the disc is so expensive for that. So I like playing Game Boy Advance games handheld, but I don't know. Sometimes there is just a time when playing on the TV. It's just the thing you want to do. It includes 88 games. Pretty sure they're supposed to be NES games. Or, I don't know, from what I've seen, like, not illegal, like, not like stolen NES games, but like original games, but like, they run on like, they use the NES as, you get what I'm trying to say. Not a clone, or it's not. It doesn't have the games like Super Mario Bros. On it, right? It's games that can legally be put on. I'm pretty sure. Man, why is it so hard to get this box out? Oh, okay. This is exciting. Okay, nothing else in the box. We'll put this aside for now. Okay, what do we got? I don't know what to grab first. The Super Nintendo controller. I do have two SNES controllers already. One's an OEM. Oh, wow. Okay, that is actually... That's pretty good, actually. That's a really clicky D-pad. We'll see how it feels to play with it. Honestly, maybe I'll even try putting it into, plugging it into my Classic 2 and playing a Super Nintendo game with it. Yeah, I think they sell this in indigo and orange. Now, I cannot read Japanese. I think I imported this from China, but okay. Now, that is a BA/8. And the reason I bring that up is because there's not a lot of videos on this in English, but I looked in captions I watched other videos of this and put on captions and had to auto-translate. There's multiple models of this. Some of them are basically a clone of the Game Boy player and play the games like perfectly. Other ones, the emulation isn't perfect, like the audio might be slightly off or something. So I don't know. I'm hoping this is one that plays them pretty accurately, but if the sound is off in one of my favorite games, I'll know. It's interesting. You can see solder points and just, right here and right there. Like, they don't have any lid on this. It's okay. It's actually pretty light. It's just weird because the package was really heavy. Wait, is it no, I don't know. It might be about the same weight. I think it's just slightly heavier than that. Yeah, maybe. Okay, there should be a... Okay, power brick. Okay, we got a few cords down here. Got ourselves an AV cable. A cord, or charge, not a charger because this isn't like a handheld console, you know what I mean, but power cord, I guess. Okay. I guess, well, I gotta go hook this thing up and see how it plays, huh? Okay, everyone, it's actually the next day.
I recorded this segment yesterday, but the audio was horrible. So this is, I'm using a different camera this time. And this, I got my Game Boy, my original Game Boy. I keep all my Game Boy Advance games with my original Game Boy for some reason, not with my Game Boy Advance. I got a CRT monitor here. For whatever reason, this device does not recognize the signal that this puts out. And I was playing this console quite a bit yesterday. I think I played enough to explain some of the quirks. This controller, it has some interesting quirks. It's actually pretty nice. I've been using it, but it is not just any. It's not any Super Nintendo controller. So this is an OEM Super Nintendo controller. On this, the Y and X are mapped to the shoulder buttons, right? And so are the shoulder buttons. So you could use both as the shoulder buttons. Now you might say that's not too crazy. But if you plug this into a Super Nintendo, those buttons will not do anything. You cannot play Super Nintendo games with this controller. You'll only be able to use the D-pad and B and A in the shoulder buttons. So this is not... And you can use Super Nintendo controllers on this, but if you do, the Y and X buttons will not do anything. But if you use the controller that came with it, the Y and X buttons will act as shoulder buttons. So that's interesting. So you probably shouldn't use this on your Super Nintendo. And you can use Super Nintendo controllers on this console, but you know, if you wanted to use those as the shoulder buttons, you're going to have to use the controller that came with it, which I don't think is an issue because this is actually it's a decent controller for what it is. Not the highest quality controller I ever used, but it's good enough that, like, when I'm playing the game, I'm not thinking about the controller, which is the goal with controllers. Now, I got a game in here, so I'll turn this on. Now, the reset button is the GBA switch, so if you want to play Game Boy Advance games, you have to have that switch down. Otherwise, it'll just play those 88 junk games, or you can call them. So here we are with Metroid Fusion. I actually got the console to play this game specifically because all my other games, for example, Super Mario Advance or Donkey Kong Country 3 here, I already got either NES or, Super Nintendo versions of those cartridges that I can play on the TV. And the reason I bring that up is because that's going to be important in a little bit. So, Metroid Fusion. Notice, yeah, and this is a CRT monitor, by the way. I do have my save files here. And that's interesting because this is the only one of my games that works with save files. Now, what do I mean by... And actually, this one right here is one I created yesterday. I've played for 2 hours on this console, and I did have a pretty good time. In terms of the emulation and whatnot, it's really accurate with some games and less with others. Like Metroid Fusion, it's pretty accurate. There's moments where the music is slightly off, but it's usually pretty spot on. Okay, right? So that's Metroid Fusion. And it has save files. Now, let's see. Oh, where did I put that? Let me get my Game Boy Advance, or one of my Game Boy Advances out here. And we'll put in Super Mario Advance. I always like that sound. Now, pay attention to this. There's all of my save files right there, right? I got 3 save files. Now, if I take this game out and I put it into this console, let me make sure you guys can see here. Now, sorry, it might be flickery because it is a CRT, but it works. something about this just Game Boy Advance games looks right on a CRT, even though they were not designed for CRTs. When I go here, none of my save files. They still exist. When I put this cartridge back in the Game Boy Advance, the save files are still there. And here, let me show you. So let's say we start a game. I always start Super Mario Bros. 2 with Mario on the first level. We're not going to play much of this level because I'm just going to try to demonstrate something here. Okay, right? Now if I say save and quit, and I go in, look at the save file I just made is right there. Now I'm going to turn this console off, and I'm going to turn it back on again. And the save file will not be there. See? Nothing there. But if I turn this off, and I put it back in the GBA SP here. This is the later model with the backlit screen, by the way. The only reason I bring that up is because I have both models of the SP. I think this one's a little overrated. Like, the difference between the backlit and frontlit screen is so tiny. And here we are. All my save files that I showed you earlier are still there. But both bottles of GBA SP are worth getting. So that's interesting, and you know, all of my games, you know, Super Mario Advance, Donkey Kong Country 2, Donkey Kong Country 3. None of those, all of those have the same issue. You cannot save, you cannot access save files that previously exist. My only game that I have that lets you do that is Metroid Fusion. And from what I understand, Metroid Fusion works a little differently than most GBA games. I'm not an expert on this topic. You know, I'm going to school to be a game designer. I'm not too in the know-how of the hardware. But, from what I understand, Metroid Fusion saves using a chip. These games save using a save battery that causes a little circuit to continue going, which allows your data to stay there. So something about these games, I don't know, it doesn't allow the console to access data and save. And this might be a deal breaker for you guys. And as I said, for me, it's not as much of a deal breaker because games like Donkey Kong Country 3, I already got the Super Nintendo version, and I prefer the Super Nintendo version. This is my way to play Donkey Kong Country 3. Oh yeah. I get happy feelings just looking at that cartridge. But, you know, I mainly got this console because I can play all the Metroid games on the TV except this one. Now I can. And I'm just lucky that this game actually allows save data to be loaded. So yeah, I don't know. Kind of an interesting thing. And like, there's my save data, right? And I could even show you, if I load it on the GBA, the same save data will also be there. So that's interesting. So games that work like Metroid Fusion, I believe a lot of the Pokemon games and things might work similarly. They have a battery just for time. Metroid Fusion, I'm pretty sure, doesn't. Some cartridges do have batteries. Others don't. I don't know. Look, there's all my saves. And I can even continue playing the one I was just playing on the screen right here. Okay. And, you know, if you didn't believe me about the Super Nintendo thing, I guess I can demonstrate that real quick. I'll get Donkey Kong Country 3 here. We'll plop this in. And I'm going to plug this controller into the Super Nintendo, or my Classic 2, which is when I used to play Super Nintendo games. Okay. Let's turn this on, I believe. Is it channel 3? There we go, channel 1. I always forget what channel I assign these to. So we got Donkey Kong Country 3 going. Oh, I love this. This is one of my favorite games of all time, man. Like, one of the best 2D platformers. Yeah. Okay, and, see, everything kind of... Oh, let's go get the gyrocopter. Yeah, Funky, we'd like the gyrocopter. I think this version of DKC3 is good, but I think it lacks polish in a lot of ways. This one did. And they redid the soundtrack for this version, which I don't think is I don't like it as much as the Super Nintendo game. But, you know, that's my personal preference. And it's not a nostalgia bias thing, because this cartridge is the first way I ever played Donkey Kong Country 3. I got the Super Nintendo cartridge later. But let's go over here. Look at so B works, A works, but if I press Y, which would be what you need to roll, or if I press X, nothing happens. And the shoulder, okay, yeah. So like, yeah, you do not want to use this controller on a Super Nintendo because I can't pick up barrels, I can't run. Oh my goodness, I want to replay this game so badly right now. Such a good game. But yeah, you cannot, and you know, most people are not going to buy this console for the controller. You could get an OEM controller for cheaper than this console. But, you know, it's just something to consider because, you know, if you're going to store this with your Super Nintendo controllers, you don't want to just grab it out of the drawer and then plug it in and be like, oh yeah, those buttons don't work. But the bright side of this is that, you know, that is neat that on the Homeboy 88, you have basically extra buttons you can use as the shoulder buttons. If you didn't like using those, you can use these. I still like using those, though. Okay, and I think that is it for this demonstration I'm going to show you. Now, I'm going to show you some gameplay footage I recorded yesterday, which didn't have horrible audio. And that'll give you an idea of the quality of the picture and things like that, because, you know, the CRT is nice and everything, but recording off of a screen is probably not going to be giving you guys the best experience here. So I'll do that for you guys. Okay, here we are. I set my camera to record in 4:3, but it's at 480p. But yeah, doesn't that actually look pretty good? Yeah, we're doing DKC3 because I still have it in. Oh, speaker's falling over. Now I'm playing with a bit of input lag here, but the picture's pretty great, isn't it? Like, it's like surprisingly sharp for what it is. Oh, there's so much input lag. I'm like watching as it's recording because my other TV doesn't work with this device for some reason. Yeah, look at that. Like, that's sweet stuff. Yeah, and again, the controller's weird like that, but it works pretty well. Here, I'll turn the volume, maybe you can hear me better. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend using this controller. Challenge. I forgot about those. Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't use this controller with a SNES, but it worked pretty good with this console. Oh, I didn't mean to. That's right. This version of DKC3 also... Oh, so laggy. Also added in wasn't it in New Worlds? I forgot. I remember playing it. This is the first version of DKC3 I actually played. It's actually my brother's cartridge.
He just kind of let me hang on to it, I guess, for some reason. Oh, so laggy. Or can we, is it too laggy for me to be able to jump accurately on that? Oh, I think you have, like, less oh, there we go. Less control with your jump in this version. I don't know. It's cool that this version does have the extra levels, but they don't feel as polished as the other levels in the game. Oh, it's so hard to do that with the input lag. I'm trying to do the Kitty Kong water ski. Oh. Oh, wait, what? It just appeared on my other TV. Why does it work there now? I guess I'll turn that off. Oh, maybe I should have left it on. It might have helped with him, but whatever. Okay, it's too laggy for me to accurately time the, Well, that was a weird enemy defeat. Ellie the elephant. It's weird. Ellie makes Ramby sounds, and I think the GBA ports were a little rushed. I think you can especially tell that with this one right here. Like, there's just elements that are missing for some reason. Still, if you have a Game Boy Advance and not a Super Nintendo, it's still a pretty great way to play the Donkey Kong Country games. Even though I don't think the Donkey Kong Country 3 soundtrack is as good anymore, it's still good. Now on to one of my favorite Mario games. Up there with like Super Mario Bros. 3 and yeah, the original of course as well. I notice the audio is like a little off on Donkey Kong Country 3, but it's right on with this game. I guess I'll turn it off so you guys can hear it. Yeah, again, the thing with the save files is weird. The audio's mostly right. It's a little off. Oh, so laggy. It is so laggy. I guess we're not oh, it's like, it's hard to time jumps because you run off, it's so laggy you run off the cliff before you can jump. Oh, that's so laggy. Oh yeah, the voice acting in this version. What bothers me about this version is Toad is like slower than he is in the NES and Super Nintendo games. I think it kind of throws off the character balance a little. Still, a solid version of the game. Oh, it's so hard to do anything with all this lag. Oh, yeah. Oh, see, I wasn't even trying to jump on that Shy Guy. It's just so hard to time anything. This input lag. The input lag is driving me crazy, man. There. And well, I guess we'll do Metroid Fusion again for you guys. And we'll pop it right in. This one does save my progress, which is nice. I mean, I did buy this console for this game. Oh, turn the reset button on. I don't know. Generally, I don't think I'd recommend this console, depending on what you want it for. Like, if you're crazy enough like me to just buy it for one game, then, go ahead and buy it, I guess. Just look at the games that you own, and if they use a save battery to save, then maybe not. But if your favorite games are like Metroid Fusion here, then it's probably actually a valid way to play them. Oh, the lag. The lag just makes it so hard to jump on anything. I can't. I know that zombie's gonna respawn at some point. We gotta talk to Adam here. is good news. I don't know. It's like, go search up videos on this. There's not many of them. But, some people get consoles that play things accurately, save their game for everything. And then some people get ones that have, like, really bad visuals and audio and whatnot. I don't know. Mine's kind of right in the middle. Like, it looks good and it sounds good for the most part, but in terms of saving, it's a bit hit or miss here. And that's really the hard part about this console is it's not a guarantee which model you're going to get if you buy it, you know? Like, it wasn't for me. And this, I guess I'll put a link to it in the description, the one I got. It was like 60, I think it was either $65 or $70. Oh, I shouldn't have been pressing the pause button. I don't know, if you guys want live streams of Game Boy Advance games and whatnot, you just let me know, I guess. I don't know, but that is so odd. How it can, like, if we... Okay, let me take that out. I don't know, should I try one more game just for you guys as a surprise? I guess we'll do, I guess I'll just let you guys figure it out. Goes along with Donkey Kong Country 3 quite well. Yeah, did you see that? The graphics for zooming in and whatnot kind of glitched out a little. I almost wonder if this game, like this console, I don't know. And the audio in DKC2 here sounds especially off. Yeah, the exact same menu. They reused the exact same menu. Oh, okay, that's not what I meant to write, but it works. Oh yeah, you gotta watch the cutscene. Or I can just skip it. DKC2 is a good game. It's not my favorite of the series, but it's solid. It's still up there as one of the best 2D platforms of all time. Yeah, like, just look at the loading. It's so weird. I mean, otherwise the game works really well. Okay, I'm starting to get a little better at this whole input lag thing. Oh, goodness. Yeah, did you hear the music? Like, that is not the death theme you're supposed to hear in that level. Yeah, forgive the bad gameplay. It's kind of hard when you have a whole second of input lag, but... Yeah, I guess I'll go back to my desk and we'll kind of talk this thing over. Okay, well, that's the Homeboy 88. And I just looked through this. I just realized they have a description for every single of those 88 games. Like, they went through the effort to do all that. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and look at for Japan only, but I got this from China. And I know because the shipping, the tracking for shipping told me, but... I don't know, maybe I'll have to translate this here and see if it says anything about saving the game. But overall, would I recommend this? If you're, I don't know. Because I know there's definitely models of this out there that do save with a save battery, save the games with a save battery. But you shouldn't have to take a gamble buying a console just hoping you get the right one. You know what I mean? So, if you're buying this to play, a large GBA collection, probably don't get this. Unless saving isn't, unless the risk of not being able to save your game is okay with you. Why am I getting pop-ups as I'm recording? Get out of here. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, yes, that's kind of interesting. Like, there's no cartridge window. I'm actually able to see in there, and I see a lot of hot glue. Maybe I can show you guys. Just like, it might be too dark. Like back here, around where this button is, you can just see a blob of hot glue and wires. I know. But yeah, I think. I mean, I'll put the link in the description. It's a neat console. And, if you want to play Metroid Fusion on the TV, this is pretty awesome. I'm going to use this to play through Metroid Fusion on the TV, but, yeah, for a GBA collection, this is not the way to go. What kind of boggles me a bit is it says QC pass. Oh, maybe you can't see the sticker there. Which, quality control, and I'd assume they test to make sure it can save games. So maybe they're just not, they're probably just testing to make sure it runs. I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of setting that makes it, I don't know. It's just if you get one of these, my biggest pointer for you is make sure to push down the reset button if you want to play the Game Boy Advance games. Because I have seen quite a few people who think their things are broken because it just plays the NES games, You gotta press down this button. What I do think is cool about this is it is shaped like a massive GBA cartridge. Like, we just need a massive GBA to put this thing in. And let's see, rubber feet. Yeah, those are solid. That's not going anywhere. But yeah, overall, interesting, but yeah, probably don't get this if, I mean, I've said this 5 times already, but it's an interesting thing to have, probably not worth it. For me, it is, because, though I do have games with save batteries, I have versions of those games on almost, on my Super Nintendo, on, let's see, what games do I have? Yeah, mostly Super Nintendo, in my NES. I have versions. Let's see. My GBA games are the Donkey Kong Country games and Super Mario Advance, which I already have versions of those for other consoles. So that's not a deal breaker for me. And I'm just kind of lucky it actually saves on the game that is the only one I can play on the GBA. So this might just be my dedicated Metroid Fusion console. But yeah, I suppose I'll stop blabbing on and repeating myself over and over. Maybe, I was going on about an existential crisis earlier. Maybe I truly am getting old if I'm repeating myself 20 times. But yeah, interesting, but not something I'd recommend getting if you want to play a bunch of GBA games. So that's it for this video. TMG out. Goodbye.